Hey folks, welcome back to my Kitten Reads and welcome to my somewhat delayed November book haul. Oh dear. And this is not even all of them. Whoops. Yeah, it was a bit of a purchasey kind of month, an acquisition-y kind of month. I do apologise for this being a bit delayed and me not getting anything out on the weekend. A combination of internet problems, choir concert for the end of year, and the fact that I hadn't realised until last week when it started that my summer semester of university was a compressed semester, so I'm doing 12 weeks worth of content in 6 weeks. So that's fun. But yes, November. I think, if I've counted correctly, I acquired about 18 items of bookishness. That's rather a lot, isn't it? Given how little, comparatively, I've been acquiring this year. So, yes, I should start with, well, I guess, the digital stuff. So I picked up, and I was always going to pick up, as I mentioned in my previous video, my long-awaited Gail Carrigan novella, Romancing the Werewolf, which I utterly adored, and is one of her Supernatural Society novellas set in the Parasol Protectorate universe. And yeah, it's a gay romance, an adult gay romance between two werewolves who have long been apart from each other. So yeah, that was fun. I also decided to, since I realised pretty quickly that it was going to be a big purchasing month, I thought I should go all out, and I used up some of my Audible credits because I had about half a dozen built up. So I think, if I can remember correctly, I bought the other Supernatural Society novella, which I hadn't yet read, which is Romancing the Inventor, which is a female-female romance involving a new character and also Madame Lafou, who is in the Parasol Protectorate books and also actually makes a childhood appearance in the Finishing School books. So I acquired that. I also acquired book 4 of Harry Potter, so The Goblet of Fire, because, you know, that's the next one on my list, narrated by Stephen Fry. So I acquired that, and I acquired an Agatha Christie. I think it was The Body in the Library, which is like one of my favourite Miss Marples. Just on a whim. You know, I've already got a physical copy of it, but I love that story, so that's probably when I can consider myself, you know, I might actually reread it via audio at some stage. So I acquired those. Then, well, there was a new bookshop to go to. Yes. So a new renovated section of the Canberra Centre opened up, and it had a Robinson's Bookshop is what I think it's called, which has previously been a Melbourne-only bookshop chain, and this is their first outside of Melbourne, outside of Victoria shop. And so, of course, I went in and I had a look, and I acquired a few things. I acquired some graphic novels. So the first one I have is Volume 3 of Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon by Naoki Takeuchi. So, as you probably remember, earlier this year I have read the first 2 volumes, so I picked up Volume 3. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to reading that. I also picked up Volume 7 of Ms. Marvel by G. Willow Wilson, which also you will be well aware that I have been following this particular comic series, which is about Kamala Khan, who is the Muslim American Ms. Marvel superhero. So I am looking forward to this because it's the one that's after the Civil War, but it's Civil War 2, and I found Civil War 2 quite difficult. So I'm looking forward to getting back to the Ms. Marvel that I love, I hope. And then, because I bought those in the first couple of days of operation of the store, I was given 2 free comics. So they are DC comics, and they are both Harley Quinn comics. So I have DC Superhero Girls, featuring the first chapter of Out of the Bottle, which is an original graphic novel with Harley Quinn, written by Shea Fontana, and art by Marcelo Di Chiara and Agnes Gabowska. Sorry if I butchered any of those. So there's that. I've never read a Harley Quinn comic before. And I have this Harley Quinn, which is by King, Finch and Belair, and it's book 1 of something Harley Quinn-ish, but it doesn't really say much more than that. So those will be interesting, given that I've not read a lot of DC, and what DC I have read hasn't been Harley Quinn. So that'll be interesting. Now, I will quickly mention the 2 books I got in November in subscription boxes. I, of course, got The Glass Spare by Lauren DeStefano from my Outcrate. So it's a YA fantasy novel about a girl who's a princess and has been kept sort of quiet in the castle, much to her horror, because she's going to be her family's spy. And then she discovers that her touch can turn people into gemstones, and she goes on adventures and meets a possibly interesting person, a possibly evil person. So there's that. And then in my November Never Never book box, I received The Tides Between by Elizabeth Jane Corbett, which I believe is a bit of a historical fiction about fairy tales and the journey to Australia from London, but the fairy tales are actually going to cause a bit of trouble. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Okay, and now we get down to my actual purchases. So I picked up Corpse Light, which is volume 2 of the Verity Fassbender books by Angela Slater, because, of course, at the end of October, I read the first book, Vigil, and really loved it. So I was pretty eager to pick up book 2. I haven't actually picked it up yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. It is, of course, the continuation of the adventures of Verity Fassbender in Brisbane, who is sort of mostly human, but half sort of other, half weird. And she is a private detective fixer kind of person. So it's a great urban fantasy series. And I'm really looking forward to picking up book 2. And the other thing that I picked up on a whim, because I didn't know it existed until I saw it, and it's gorgeous, and I had to pick it up. Guys, Tamora Pierce has a new book. It's called Tortle, A Spy's Guide. And it's not her next novel, which I believe is due out next year, but it's like, it's George's writings for his children about being a spy in Tortle. And if you know anything about me, you'll know that the Trickster books starring George's daughter Ali are some of my favourites. And there's all sorts of spy magnificence in this, in Tamora Pierce's Tortellon world. And I'm so excited. It's so gorgeous. And I haven't picked it up yet, but look at the inside. Look at it. How gorgeous is this? I can't wait to pick it up. I've just been sort of petting it, really, because it's new Tamora Pierce. Yeah, I kind of got excited about that. Then the last half a dozen books are secondhand books that I picked up because I went on a bit of a bookshop trip to County's Bookshop with my friend Elizabeth when we did our sort of monthly-ish catch-up. And so I picked up a few books. Now, the first 2 are not going on my TBR, thank goodness, because they're books I've definitely read plenty of times. So the first one is Claudine at St. Clair's by Enid Blyton. I loved the St. Clair's and the Mallory Towers storybooks by Enid Blyton when I was growing up. But I mostly borrowed them from a library. So every now and then, if I see one that I don't have for secondhand, I pick it up because I still kind of really, really love them. And I like to have them because they're adorable. So that's Claudine at St. Clair's. So that's not going on the TBR because I've read it plenty of times. And so we went to Candy's Bookshop, but then we also went to Barry's Bookshop, which is just around the corner. And I think is owned by the parents who used to own Canty's, but something like that anyway. And they had all these really pretty editions of Jane Austen. And you know me, I have like paperbacks of all of Jane Austen, and I have ebooks of all of Jane Austen, but occasionally I really can't help myself, and this is a really pretty version of Persuasion. Like, it took a while for me to decide which version, which pretty edition that I wanted, but it's hardcover. It's got this gorgeous image of a dress on the front. It's got a fan on the back, and if I open it up, it's this really pretty lavender and grey, and I just really, really like it. I mean, Persuasion's not my favourite, but it is growing on me. So, yeah, I couldn't resist. So that's not going on the TBR either because, hey, I've already read the book this year. And the other 4 books are going on the TBR. I shall start with this one, which is a bit naughty. It was in the Jane Austen section, but it's not actually, well, it's called Pride and Promiscuity, The Lost Sex Scenes of Jane Austen by Ariel Extot. And I have heard of this before, and it's based on the premise that, you know, a young woman was visiting Bath in the 2000s, and she accidentally found hidden cut scenes in a windowsill or something or other. In 2002, an amateur Jane Austen scholar, while staying at a Hertfordshire estate, Hertfordshire, not Bath, stumbled upon a hidden cache of manuscript pages and made an extraordinary literary discovery. Lost scenes from Jane Austen's novels that reveal an altogether different dimension of her oeuvre. So, I suspect it's going to be hilarious and quite smutty and a bit naughty. But, yes, I'm kind of looking forward to reading this one. I'm blushing a little bit. Anyway, so I picked up that because I just couldn't help myself. And the last 3 are crime novels. So every time I go sort of secondhand book shopping, I try to take a list of all the Agatha Christie's I own, because that's a shorter list than all the Agatha Christie's I don't own. And so I bought 2, and they are both Tommy and Tuppence stories. Now, I haven't actually read a Thomas and Tuppies. I have the first Thomas and Tuppies story on my shelf, which I've attempted to read before, but I got distracted a long time ago. And the only real experience I have with it is because one of the Tommy and Tuppence stories was made into a TV movie as part of the Miss Marple series. So it's still got Tommy and Tuppence, but it includes Miss Marple as well. So I picked up 2 more Tommy and Tuppences. The one that was made into Miss Marple is By the Pricking of My Thumbs, so I'm a bit familiar with it, but I don't know, sort of how the movie differs, the TV show differs from the book. So when Tommy and Tuppence visit an elderly aunt in her Gothic nursing home, they think nothing of her mistrust of the doctors. After all, Ada is a very difficult old lady. But when Mrs. Lockett mentions a poisoned mushroom stew and Mrs. Lancaster talks about something behind the fireplace, Tommy and Tuppence find themselves caught up in an unexpected adventure involving a strange inheritance, a mysterious house, black magic, a missing tombstone, and almost death for the redoubtable Tuppence. So I believe this is the 4th Tommy and Tuppence books in the chronology. And the 3rd Tommy and Tuppence book is N or M, which I could have sworn I had a copy of, but apparently I don't. So I'm not entirely sure what and N or M is about. But it's a very nice edition. Hardcover with a gorgeous blue cover and these lovely end papers. So I will add those to my pile of Agatha Christie to reads. And I also picked up White Nights by Anne Cleeves. I had originally had this on hold at the library, but since I found a second-hand copy, I cancelled my hold. But this is the second of the Jimmy Perez Shetland novels. There's a TV series based on it that I watched earlier this year and fell in love with. So now I'm reading the books just out of interest, and this is the second book. So here we go. At first, the hanging body seems to be a straightforward case of suicide. Shetland detective Jimmy Perez recognises the victim, a stranger with amnesia who has disrupted a local party the night before his death. Soon Perez realises that this was no desperate act of anguish, but the work of a cold and calculating killer, and the small Bethesda community is determined to keep its secrets. Then another body is found. Perez knows he must break the cycle before another death occurs, but this is a crazy time of year when night blurs into day and nothing is quite as it seems. So I'm not actually sure if this is one of the ones that's been adapted or not. But yeah, I really liked reading the first one, so I'm sure I'll enjoy reading the second one. And that is the end of my interminably long book haul for November. I will probably continue being a little all over the place with posting videos in December between studying and the fact that I'm going away just before Christmas and I won't be back until the first week of January. So I don't know whether I probably won't post anything unless it's really, really short when I'm away. I may film some things, but yeah, we'll see. I will try and do another video this weekend, but we'll see what happens. I don't have any distinct plans right now. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that book haul. Let me know if you've read any of those books or if you want to read any of those books. And I will see you again really soon. Bye.